Hello everybody, welcome to step 4. Today we're going to be talking about fabric cutting. Now you might be wondering why fabric cutting is an entire step that deserves an entire couple minutes long explanation, but fabric cutting is actually one of the most crucial parts of the fashion design process. If you cut your fabric wrong, it could mess up the entire garment and all of your hard work would go to waste, which we would hate for that to happen. So I'm going to show you the proper technique of how to cut fabric properly. So first thing, we're going to talk about materials. Today I have these fabric scissors. I actually haven't used fabric scissors in the past. I usually just use these regular kitchen scissors. So the difference between these pairs of scissors, as you can see, one of them is curved because when you cut, you actually need to cut flat on the table. So this needs to lie on the table, which is really hard to do with these. So although you can get by with using regular kitchen scissors, I would definitely recommend getting a pair of these and using them if you have access to them. So assuming you have your fabric scissors, you have your pattern ready, and your fabric, let's get started. So the materials you're going to need are obviously, like we just talked about, fabric scissors. You're going to need your pattern that we made in the last video. Go check that out if you haven't done that yet. You're going to need a couple objects that can serve as pattern weights. So in fashion design classrooms and nice studios, they have actual weights that are meant specifically to hold the pattern on the fabric. But obviously most of us are not going to have those. So what I do is I use candles, which is super random, but if you have anything like this that's kind of heavy and that can just sit on top of your fabric, you can use, honestly, soda cans, you can use boxes, just any container that has weight in it will work just fine. You can also even use a book. It's always better to have them kind of be smaller and heavier versus bigger and lighter, so just keep that in mind. There's a couple different things that can work, but I'm sure you can find something. Alright, so now that we have all of our materials, let's get into the actual fabric cutting. So I have my big piece of fabric here. Okay, so you're just gonna put the piece flat on the fabric and then put your things on and it should stay in place. Now this is where tailor's chalk comes in, and this is not actually real tailor's chalk. You can use any chalk, or this is a soft pastel that has always worked really well for me. Just use whatever you can find, but you're basically just going to trace the outline of the pattern onto the fabric. So there are different ways to go about the pattern tracing step. However, if you made a pattern like we did in the last video that looks like this, which is half of a skirt, most of your patterns are going to look like that. It's just going to be one half. You need to actually fold the fabric and position the pattern to where it will come out as two halves, if that makes sense. Congratulations, we finally have something tangible that we can look at and say that's going to be my clothes. This is what it looks like. you can kind of see how it's taking shape, and this is always a really exciting part in the design process for me because I finally start seeing the physical vision. Like, I know what it looks like in my head, but I finally start seeing it in real life, and I just get so excited for what the finished product is going to look like. I will see you guys in the next step, and I can't wait. Let's finally start making some clothes.